Okay, so there's this one chart making the rounds in the AI world, and honestly, it's got a lot of people spooked. In this explainer, we're going to break down what this thing really shows, why almost everyone gets it wrong, and what it might mean for, well, everything.
Yeah, I know. Scariest chart in AI development history. That sounds like hyperbole, right? But what's so wild is that this isn't coming from some outsider. This is the kind of thing you hear from the people building the AI. They're looking at their own work, and it's starting to scare them.
So why all the panic? I mean, look at it. It's just a line graph, a few dots going up and to the right. How could this be so scary? Well, it's because the story this chart tells is about a pace of progress that is just off the rails. Even the experts are having a hard time wrapping their heads around it. So let's really get into it.
Okay, so section 1. Let's tackle what this chart is actually showing. Because I'm telling you, this might be the most misunderstood graphic in all of AI right now. And trust me, what it really means is way more dramatic than the popular misconception.
This chart comes from a nonprofit called METR Research. Now, what these folks do is pretty cool. They basically create the Olympics for frontier AI models. They put together hundreds of really complex tasks. We're talking tough stuff, encoding, cybersecurity, you name it. But before they let the AI have a go, they have top human experts solve them first. That sets the gold standard, the baseline.
And right here, this is the key. This is the part almost everyone misses. That y-axis, the vertical one, it is not about how fast the AI is. It's a measure of how many hours of human expert work the AI can replace. So think about it. If a task takes a brilliant human programmer 8 hours to complete, and the AI does it in, say, 3 minutes, the chart doesn't show 3 minutes. It shows 8 hours. It's measuring capability, not the clock.
So let's just hammer this point home because it's so important. The common mistake is thinking this is about processing time, how fast the AI works. The reality, it's about how much human labor is being replaced. We are talking about the sheer volume of highly skilled work that these systems can just do.
All right, so now we know what we're looking at. The pace is accelerating. And this is the part that has people truly rattled. It's not just that the line is going up, it's that the speed at which the line is going up is also going up. The progress is accelerating.
So not too long ago, we had a model pop up on this chart that could replace about 5.2 hours of expert human work. And that by itself was a pretty big deal. You know, it was a data point that made a lot of people sit up and pay attention. The curve was clearly bending upwards.
But then, almost right after, a new model drops. And just look at that leap, 14 and a half hours. We're talking about replacing nearly 2 full workdays for a top-tier expert in one go. The line on the chart basically went vertical. It's just an absolutely staggering jump. So what does that mean for the pace of all this? Well, the old thinking was that these capabilities were doubling every 7 months or so, which, by the way, is already insanely fast. But now, with this new data point, that doubling time seems to have shrunk to just 4 months. You see what I mean? The rate of progress itself is accelerating. Okay, let's step back for a second. These are just numbers on a graph, right? It can feel a little abstract. So let's connect this chart to reality. What does this actually look and feel like for the people at the very heart of the industry? I mean, listen to this quote from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. He says, "The inside view, what's going to happen, the world is not prepared." He's basically saying that from where he's sitting, seeing what's coming down the pike, we're just not ready for it. He's even admitted it's happening way faster than he thought, and called the whole thing stressful and anxiety-inducing. And it's not just him. You're hearing this sentiment echoed all over the place. Leaders at the top AI labs are saying things like, coding is solved. Just pause and think about that statement. The entire discipline of learning to write software, they're saying it's effectively over, that this fundamental, high-value skill has essentially been automated. And here's a fantastic little story that shows you what this looks like in practice. The person who wrote the article this is based on had this horrible accounting task he'd been putting off for months. You know the kind. So he just dumped all the data into an AI agent, went and played a video game for about 40 minutes, and when he came back, the task wasn't just done, it was automated, forever. The AI had built a permanent solution. So does this mean programmers are going extinct? Well, maybe not. A really good analogy here is the printing press. You know, before the printing press, only a handful of professional scribes knew how to write. After it, literacy exploded, and almost everyone could read and write. The idea here is that AI might not just eliminate coders. It might turn all of us into builders.
It could democratize the ability to create things with software. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. What happens next? If this trend line continues on its path, where does it end? And look, there are some very smart people on both sides of this. You've got the bulls who say this exponential growth is the real deal, and the bears who say, hold on, let's be cautious.
So let's break that down. The bull case, the argument that the trend is real and will hold, is pretty simple. It's been consistent for over 5 years, the leaders of the labs making this stuff believe it's going to continue, and as we just saw, the pace is picking up. But then you have the bear case, the reasons for caution. And these are valid points. For one, the error bars on these tests are massive. We're talking a range from like 6 hours to 98 hours. Plus, as we discussed, measuring human time isn't a perfect proxy for task difficulty. And some other real-world metrics actually show a bit of a slowdown, so it's not a settled debate.
But what if the trend does hold? If you just take that line and project it forward, you get to some truly mind-bending places. According to METR's own analysis, by early 2027, that's not far away. A single AI run could replace 1 month of human expert labor. And by 2032, the projection suggests AI could automate 99% of its own research and development. That's the textbook definition of an intelligence explosion, where the AI just starts improving itself at a speed we literally can't even imagine. So here's the bottom line. Whether you look at this chart and see incredible, exciting progress, or you see a 5-alarm fire, the trajectory is undeniable. Even the biggest skeptics will tell you these systems are getting more powerful and they're doing it fast. So it feels like the question isn't really if this changes everything, but when. And the much, much harder question is, are we ready?